first Fridays with Phil. This show will be happening every Friday. This is a show tapping into the day-to-day life of a college student and opening an environment for you, the students, to be able to come and talk about and share your ideas, share the stories and the things that you are going through. And today's show is entitled, This Is It. This is the time for you, as my peers, as college students, to go out and pursue your dreams. There have been so many people here throughout our lives that have laid out a legacy for us to be inspired and to achieve what it is we are called to do and what we are destined to become. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Fridays with Phil and how this show all started. Last year I got asked to do a few things in entertaining or also emceeing a few of the events here at the campus, and someone came up to me, I can't remember who it was, so, you know, if you're out there, let me know it's you. They told me that I can definitely see you having a career in doing something with TV or emceeing a program, and, you know, of course, I was just like, oh yeah, I can kind of see that too, but I'm into music. But I gave it some thought, and I really started to just think about the idea of talking to students, my peers, about issues, creating some type of open environment. And so, you know, I went to a few of my friends and a few of my teachers, and we started talking about it and building this concept of Fridays with Phil and what it would be about. And so we are here today. But also, as I was thinking and going through the entire process, I said, well, what exactly are some of the things we're going to talk about? And so one of my friends, one of the team people that work for PWP said, have students send in topics, have students send in things that they want to talk about, or things that they feel that are important for us to be aware of what is around and what's going on a college campus. And that is very true. We need to be aware of one another's feelings or what we all are going through, because we as humans learn through each other, right? We all, every day, encounter each other, have certain events that happen in our life that someone else is experiencing out in the world. And my audience, of course, is you. It's you as students, it's students all over the world, hopefully, and parents and faculty members in the college campuses. And so this first episode, I have a few guests here that are going to share their experience in their careers for comedy. How many of you are familiar with UCB, the University Center Board? Yes?
Oh yeah!
Tonight at the Spec at 8 o'clock, and they have two comedians coming in to provide laughter to your lives. And guess what? I have them here on the show today. And so yeah, I'm interviewing these guys, and I'm having them share their experience with you on how they got started in their career as comedians, okay? Who would ever think that you could make a career out of providing laughter in people's lives? I mean, I wouldn't necessarily think that. We've all grown up in our lives, you know, with our parents and people telling us to do things that are practical. Going to law school, going to school to be a teacher, going to school to be a doctor, you know, going to school to be a veterinarian, whatever it is. But are we inspired, or are we ever told to be entrepreneurial or to start something or do something that we truly love, and finding a way to make a career out of it, and finding a way to get paid while having fun? And so I have these wonderful guys, Mike Steadley and Joe Kilgallen, on today to share with you their experience in providing laughter in people's life in comedy, something that we all enjoy and something that we look forward to in some point in our lives. So after the break, I'm going to have our first guest onto the show, so we shall be right back. Thank you. All right, welcome back to Fridays with Phil. We have our next guest, Mike Stanley. Mike Stanley is a well-known comedian in the Chicago area as well as in Canada who has won many awards in his field of comedy. He has performed alongside many comedians such as Dave Adel, Larry Miller, Gary Valentine, and many, many more. And Mike Stanley is known for his energy and peppered delivery and that he has performed throughout the world. So let's put our hands together for Mike Stanley. All right. Come on, have a seat, Mike. Oh my God, it's a celebrity. Mike, how are you? Take this, Mike.
Hi, guys. How are you?
This is Mike Stanley, yes.
Thanks for having me. This is very odd.
Isn't this odd? I know. I know.
This
Why?
is like inside the actor's studio.
I'm telling you, yes.
Inside the
Except
actor's
it's
studio.
Fridays with Phil. So, I mean, like, this is cool. This is my show.
Yeah. I feel like we're in a church right now, doesn't it?
Well, I know. That's the way. I don't know why it's set up. Isn't this beautiful, though?
It's
beautiful
haunted.
scenery.
I guarantee you that, everyone.
Well, this school is haunted. Milliken is known for being a haunted university. So
Okay.
there's a ghost in here somewhere.
Is it really?
Yeah. But, hey, anyway, more about you, less about Milliken. This is my show, Fridays with Phil. All right, let's get started. So, Mike,
Yes.
Mike,
Thank
you for coming on and being a guest for this show. I'm really super duper excited to have you.
Not a problem.
I'm glad you're here. So, let's talk to the audience a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are from.
I grew up in the beautiful Detroit, Michigan. Right?
All right, Detroit.
Some of you heard of it. It's still there. It's gorgeous.
Of course it is.
It's a very beautiful place. I don't know Eminem, if that's your next question. That's always like
I don't either, but hopefully one day we will.
That's always like
Hopefully
whenever
one day
you tell someone that you're from somewhere and you're in the entertainment.
And they ask
like,
you,
do you know
yeah.
Eminem? I'm like, yes, he's very ticklish. I just say that. And I'm like, I don't know him.
So, how did you get started in your career as a comedian? You know, I'm just interested to know. Were you always like known as a funny person in your family? Like, you know.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was one of those things that was kind of ingrained into just my life from the get-go. My mother was in the entertainment business. She was a baton twirler.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah. I know. Right? It's weird, like my mom.
You can make a living doing anything and being successful and happy. So.
Yeah, my mom was a baton twirler, and my dad was a fireman. And I know what you're thinking, Mike. Did they meet in a parade? No, they didn't. But yeah, my mom always owned like dance studios and like taught ballet and tap and jazz and stuff. So we kind of grew up with that. And comedy was always one of those things that was in our house. Like I grew up watching the Carol Burnett show and like Letterman and George Carlin and stuff like that. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer to take that path. And then as I got older, I started writing, and then I started going to open mics. And you know, you get like 5 minutes at an open. I don't know. Is anybody in here interested in doing stand-up at all?
Anybody in here?
No?
One person out of the audience, that's right.
There you go. Yeah, that's how it starts. Like, you go to your local comedy club and you get 5 minutes, and I went, and I sucked, and that's how it works. You suck, and then you just keep going back, and then you get better.
Of course. So when you first started, what are some of the clubs you worked at in Michigan? Or I know you are working at the Chicago Comedy Bar, but how did you transition from, you know, working in comedy clubs at Michigan to, you know, Chicago and this big, you know, comedy bar that's providing comedy? Yeah,
well, for me it was, you know, I've been touring. I started doing stand-up 7 years ago. I've been touring for 6, and I've been headlining for about 5.5.
Okay.
So for me, it like, I started in Detroit. It was a small talent pool there, kind of, so I bumped up really quick, and then I started touring, and I was hitting Canada as well because it was right across the pond there, and prostitution and pot was legal, so that was fun to go over there.
We're going to edit that, right?
One person clapped. Like, yeah, Canada sounds sweet. No, but I started touring out of Detroit, and then I started going all over the country, and then I had an opportunity to move to Chicago, so I did that, and then, yeah, I've just been pretty much touring ever since, and I just tour all over the country pretty much 40-something weeks a year. So for me, like, I won a lot of contests in Detroit when I first started, so that's a lot. Like, when you first start out, that's how you get work. You'll enter a contest, and whoever wins, they go, okay, we'll give you a week's worth of work, and then that's how I kind of got the ball rolling for my career. And then I've just been writing my ass off and trying to tour as much as humanly possible.
So did you start at a university? Did you go to school, or did you attend community college, or how did you get?
I didn't. I actually went to school to be a fireman, like my father, because I didn't want to be a baton twirler like my mother. So, yeah, I was going to be a fireman. I went through the fire academy and EMT and paramedic, and I was an EMT in Detroit for a while, which was awful, as you can imagine. There's nothing funny about that. I don't know why. It was terrible. But and I started doing stand-up a lot of the time, and I started winning all these contests, and I started making more money doing stand-up than what I went to school for. And then I realized that I really hated what I was doing. So I was just like, I'm just going to go full-fledged into this thing that I love, and I've been doing it ever since, and I haven't looked back. So
let's backtrack a little. You mentioned that a few times that you've sucked, and
I still suck every now and again.
But I mean, we all do sometimes. We all, when we're going through our you guys are laughing at everything. We all do. When
now I suck. It's awful. I'm terrible right now. I smell awful too, by the way. I'm so upset that
we have to get through the interview, Mike.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
When we're going through,
I got ADD from a hooker a while back. I apologize, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
It's hard for me to stay on track. This is very serious. I don't want to break your career. What were you asking me?
No, it's all right. No, we all, as I was saying, we're going into it's so hard to be serious now after we're doing this. So
this is very serious. Go ahead.
Very serious.
Listening. I'm paying attention.
We all, going through our experience in whatever we do, we experience ups and downs and trials and tribulations. And so I want to know what some of those downfalls were for you pursuing this career in comedy. Of course, your first time doing comedy, it wasn't so great, but how did you continue to do that and continue to build such stamina, but also such courage throughout all of this? It has to be hard, especially when you're in front of a group of people. And do all of your audiences laugh or appreciate your jokes that you provide? Or
I mean, it's one of those things where you really, if there's something you want to do, period, you have to put on the blinders and focus on that thing and just do it. And just don't worry about what anybody says. Just worry about what you're doing and put all your efforts into it.
Of course.
Because there's always going to be people that tell you suck at what you do. It doesn't matter. Because when you first start doing anything, you suck at it. So just continue to do that thing that you love. Yeah. One person.
All right.
That's very motivational.
That's true.
No, just do what you do. I mean, if you find something that you like, whether it's music or art or anything, in any of those fields, music and art and entertainment, it's a struggle. It is. It's going to be tough. But if it's what you want to do it. And do it the best you can. That's all I can tell you. And don't worry about what anybody says. Because there's always going to be people that tell you suck at something. I still get it all the time. You'll probably tell me I suck after this interview.
They won't.
Maybe not. I don't know.
You are great. No, you're great. Well, I mean, I think it's really interesting because even for me, and
you're doing great, by the way. Isn't he doing great?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Even for me, every day we're going to school, we're going to class. These students, you can attest to this. We're going to class, and we're trying to be the best at what we do, and we take tests. And, I'm not the best test taker. I'm really not. I mean, I can study my butt off all the time, but I sometimes I really do, have a hard time concentrating. But, it's something that my parents always told me. If you allow yourself to give up and to go into that mentality of, oh, I can't do this, I just suck, and not of trying your best and giving your best every time, then you won't be able to pursue and do exactly what it is you want or what it is you all are destined to do. I mean, there have been multiple times people think that I am a confident person, and they tell me this, but you never know how a person is really feeling inside. And every time you get up in front of an audience, or every time you're giving a speech in class or whatever it is you're doing, you really there is a fear of okay, what is this person thinking about me? Am I really going to be great at this? You have to have that mentality yourself. You only set the way you set your mentality.
You're always your own worst critic too.
You are.
That's
you
the
are.
thing. You're always hardest on yourself. I mean, I know I've gotten off stage sometimes and people have been like, "That's great," and then I end up back in a hotel room, rocking back and forth in the shower, crying.
Right.
That happens.
I mean, yeah.
But listening to Coldplay.
But
All
but of course,
alone.
but that happens,
Right.
But that is my point. That is my point is, and one of my favorite, or my favorite inspiration, and a lot of people know this, is Miss Oprah Winfrey herself.
Oh,
she is, and I love her. I don't care. For all of you watching out there, I love her. She's an inspiration. But she said something that will, she said something that I will never forget. We as humans, the biggest thing that we have for ourselves is our brain power and our will to do exactly what it is we're doing. We set our futures for ourselves by what we go through and what we experience, and how we use those experiences as learning steps, as steps to learn.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. You have to remember, you have the ability and the freedom to change whatever it is about yourself to become the person you want to be. Just remember that, and don't worry about what anybody else says. Like, just do what you want to do. I don't know if that helps. But I got to the point where even if I did a show and I wasn't happy about it, I was like, well, that happened. I'm moving forward. Like, my album just got released, and it's up. I have like my first album ever. It's like out on iTunes, and now,
Yes.
But like,
I'll have to buy that. What's it named?
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
It's called Tough Luck Chump.
All right,
Tough Luck Chump. You can get it on iTunes.
Okay. Everyone gets a free copy after this. No, I'm just joking.
No, I'll be you really are Oprah.
Yes.
He's giving away copies of my album.
I know, right? Well, I hate to cut this short.
Me too.
But I just want to thank you so... I want to thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
For coming on and sharing your experience with all of these wonderful students on this audience. Ladies and gentlemen, come tonight. UCB.
Are you guys coming tonight?
Come at 8 o'clock. Yes, they
Please
are.
Come.
They are coming. They are coming.
You shook your head no. How dare you miss?
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mike. All right, we are back for more of Fridays with Phil. That was just exciting, wasn't it? Wasn't Mike great? Yes, you have to see him tonight. Our next guest, his name is Joe Kilgallen. I had to make sure I pronounced his name wrong because I'm pretty sure a lot of you know that even if I do know your face, sometimes I pronounce your name wrong. I just like forget. It's just something that happens. But yes, Joe Kilgallen. Joe has been performing stand-up since 2006, and he's from Chicago, Illinois, so all the Chicagoans out there, yeah. He is skilled in improv and sketch writing along with whiskey drinking and swearing. And so, without further ado, you'll learn more about him. Let's welcome to the stage Mr. Joe Kilgallen. Just joking. Joe.
What is up, Phil? How's it going?
What's going on?
Hey, everybody.
Did you hear what just happened?
You butchered my last name again.
Kilgallen. I said Joe
Kilgallen.
Kilgallen. I'm sorry.
You know what's funny about my last name is it's pronounced exactly how it's spelled.
Oh. I'm sorry. Oh, my gosh.
Well, you spelled it wrong, but can I just do this real quick? I don't
do
want
it.
to get into it.
Okay.
You have it spelled Killgallon. So if you broke it into two words, that's Kilgallen. And you said Kilgallen or Kilgallen, or I don't know what you said. It's fine.
Joe, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Hey.
Phil, come on, man.
Okay.
Right.
We're friends again.
We're buddies.
We're
This
buddies.
is weird, by the way.
Did you
Can we do this for the rest of the show?
Yes, we
Can we
can.
hold hands like this? Would this make people uncomfortable?
This is love.
Does this get really weird?
What's so
All right,
uncomfortable
cool.
about
You're
this?
straightening your grip a little too much, but that's okay.
Okay. Well, Joe, yes, fix that. I'm so happy to have you here on our show.
Happy to be here.
Yes. Are we happy to have Joe here? Yep. Did you hear what happened before you came on stage?
No, what happened?
I said Miss Kilgallen. I didn't mean to do that.
You called me a woman and you ruined my last name. Okay.
I'm so sorry. This is just horrible. All right, let's get to you. So,
make fun of Irish people while I'm up here too? My God,
no. We have a person from Ireland out there. Where is he? Get a shot of him. Yes, there it is. Stand up, Adrian.
He doesn't have to stand up.
He doesn't have to. There he is. He's from Ireland, representing.
He's actually from Ireland. I just have
he
family
is.
from there. He's the real deal.
He's the real deal. Okay, back to you.
We'll talk shop after the show, buddy.
Back to you. So tell us a little bit where you're from. From Chicago,
I'm from the northwest side of Chicago.
Okay.
I grew up in the city. Anyone else grew up in the city?
Yeah, I grew up in the city.
I grew up Cool. I grew up like off of Irving and Cicero in Milwaukee, like that intersection. I grew up there, real blue collar part of the city. A lot of like construction workers, firemen and cops, whatnot.
Right.
And then I went to a public school, then a Catholic school, and then I went to college as a political science major. And then I said, the hell with this, and then I started doing stand-up comedy.
So let's get this straight. You went to school, college. Where'd you go?
I went to Wright College, and then I was transferring over. Right when I was going to transfer over to Northeastern, I decided to just drop out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just pursue.
Which don't do.
Don't do that. We're not encouraging anyone to drop out of school. Okay. But I mean that's exciting to hear that you know after you dropped out you didn't give up. You didn't stop doing what you wanted to do. You just continued to pursue your career in comedy. Did you ever see yourself making a career out of being a comedian or?
Well, actually, it's funny. It wasn't my original intent. I knew right away that I wanted to do something in the field of entertainment. Right. Whether it was acting, writing, or stand-up. I knew I wanted something. So I dropped out when I was 21. I remember December, that's the first semester. After that semester, I had that talk with my parents where I told them I don't want to do it anymore. Again, I was a poli-sci major, and usually you have to go to law school after that, and I wasn't feeling that. So, and it was after the 2004 election, and that wasn't fun. But so basically, right that December, I dropped out of school, and that following January, I enrolled in classes at Second City.
Okay.
Oh
wow!
Improv and sketch
We
writing.
just had Second City here a few weeks ago.
Cool.
They were, yeah.
That's a great place. A lot of great talent there. You guys should definitely check it out if you're over in the city, or if they come down here. Make them come down here. Actually,
yeah.
Make them come down here. But so I knew I didn't want to just sit on my hands and be one of those guys who drops out and does nothing.
I mean, of course.
So I immediately rolled into those classes, and through improv and sketch writing, I got recommendations for stand-up from one of my teachers. So I fell in love with stand-up. I think it's the best form of comedy.
So how long did you work for Second City?
Oh, I was in classes.
Oh, you're just in class. Oh, you're doing classes.
I was a student there about a year.
Okay.
A year I went through all the classes for improv and sketch writing.
Oh, that's super.
Which the sketch writing is basically they train you on how to write for like Saturday Night Live, like that style of sketch writing. So you've all seen it.
So yeah, what is can you elaborate a little bit more on what sketch writing is? Because as
sketch writing, basically, what they would teach us is whenever you write, this works for all forms of writing, for television or screenwriting. Basically, one page will represent a minute. So we were trying to do like basically 5-minute sketches, and that's what we were learning through. And they taught you the different forms. They do like a fish out of water thing where it's like exactly how it sounds. Like, for example, you have like a smart guy hanging out with dumb guys. There's a fish out of water. There's center and eccentrics.
Right.
There's all sorts of different formulas and formats, and we basically just create and try to write. And the most fun part about it is when we do table reads, because everybody each week would come in with their script.
Of course.
And then we would just act it out, basically, like do a table read, which was a lot of fun because you got to see your brain at work through other people's voices. We had Second City here last week, and I saw them on stage at the very end of their show. They had the audience shout out different things. And that's improv. Okay, that's improv. Okay, and that's not the same thing. Sketch writing. No, the sketch is basically when you're acting it out. You know what it is. It's scripted.
Right.
Like anything you'd see on Saturday Night Live would be they're sketch writers. They're writing like just a real quick sketch and making like a couple jokes out of something and then going on.
Okay.
They work well with impressions. Like if you have an actor who could do impressions, then you could do a sketch about Oprah.
Oh.
Which you would love. And, so yeah, basically something like that.
Yeah.
But improv is when you would just take a suggestion and flow with it. Like if someone yelled out hockey, and then you do a sketch about pretending to be a hockey player. So would you like improv? Is that something you're into?
No, I mean, I think it's cool, but I don't think it's anything that I can definitely, really do. And besides singing, I mean, I can improv and singing.
There you go.
Singing, yeah. So where are some of the other places you've worked in the field of comedy, and how did you get started with working with the Chicago Comedy Bar and getting discovered through that field?
Well, I started in Chicago, and then just going through the open mics and doing showcases and everything like that. I work with a group called Comedians You Should Know, which we had the album that was #1 on iTunes in the comedy section. It wasn't #1 like in any other section.
Right.
But we beat Beyonce. It was a good week. I don't know how we did it, but so yeah, I got through that group. The Comedy Bar opened about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
When they opened, the two owners at the time had seen me around town and basically asked me to come work there. When I first started there, I was the MC. I was the first comic.
Okay.
Then I they promoted me to feature, and now I headline there. So basically just through hard work and kicking ass, I was able to become the headliner.
So both you and Mike are the headliners for the Chicago Comedy Bar. What are some other comedians you've had?
Oh, at the Comedy Bar?
Yeah.
Todd Glass is a big name they use.
Okay,
They use a lot of local guys from the Midwest.
Right.
Some guys who are just breaking in. It's their way of saying, these guys are awesome, they're going to be big, you need to know them now. It's a great club. It's in downtown Chicago, and the ticket's only $10, which is unheard of for downtown Chicago. Exactly, right? Yeah. You can't park for an hour.
I know. It's like, what, 25 cents?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So they use a lot of local guys, Chicago guys you guys want to know, guys I work with. Marty DeRosa, he's a great comic.
Of course.
Sean Flannery. Who else do they use? Drew Michael. There's a lot of great comics out of the city. So Facebook me, I'll get you free tickets.
Yes, Facebook him.
I will, seriously.
Facebook.
Not all at once, though.
Spell your last name for them.
Spread it out.
Spell your last name.
It's Kilgallon.
Okay, all right.
It's Gallon, like the regular word gallon, and then K-I-L up front. One L up front.
Oh, one L. I had two L's. Okay, so we had Mike earlier elaborate a little bit on, going through his experience and performing in the comedy field. So what are some things that you've gone through, or how have you gotten yourself through performing? Especially, I'm pretty sure that there weren't a lot of times where you felt confident in what your performance and what you're doing. So
I'll tell you about my first time on stage. It was an open mic at a coffee house called Pressure Cafe. It was a half pool hall, half coffee house. When you start out, you do the worst venues. Places where it's like, why is there a show here? I've done like Italian restaurants where people are eating and they're like, why is this guy setting up a microphone right now? And then the guy will announce, oh, we're going to have a comedy show. And they're like, why? I don't want to have a comedy show. Like, this is lasagna night. Yeah. What are you doing to me? And then we do them and they're awful. But then there are shows that you think are going to be awful that end up being great. So
of course.
You have to do whatever gig you can. But my first gig, I'm a fast talker. So
yeah.
The first time I ever performed, you get a 5-minute open mic spot. I think I heard Mike talk about this. I was talking so fast, I didn't even give the audience a chance to laugh. Like, I was literally like, hit the punchline, here's my next topic. Like, I had a joke about cloning my girlfriend, and then it was an awful joke, and then I went right on to the people who dance like jerks at weddings. It was just terrible. I didn't even, like, pause at all. It was just, like, real quick. And then I remember this girl came up to me after the show, and she's like, I thought one of those jokes was funny. At least I thought it sounded funny, but you didn't really stop at all. It was just, I was so freaked out. And then the next time I went on stage, I had a real bad cold, so my voice was like, I couldn't talk fast. So it forced me to talk slow.
Of course.
And then I had a great time, and then that gave me confidence. But yeah, there are some nights where you think you are the greatest thing in the world. You're like, it was awesome night. And then there are other nights where it's like, I'm going to go play in traffic. That wasn't fun. Like,
exactly.
That's the highs and lows of being, I know that this is, real quick, ask the crowd. You guys are a performance arts school, right? Or a lot of performers?
Yes, pretty much. Pretty based. I mean, we're based in a performance arts.
What you're doing is awesome.
This is a music building.
Number one, graduate. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not just saying that because that sounds good. Do it, because you're already here. And when you're working a day job in LA, you'd rather make $12 an hour than $6. So just think of that. Or New York, wherever you decide to go. But basically, to add to Stanley, go balls out. Go all in.
Exactly.
Don't give 100%. But what I was going to say is there are highs and lows. There are going to be nights where you feel so great that the idea of going home and going to bed's crazy. You won't be able to fall asleep.
Of course.
You can't fall asleep. You have that performance high. And then there are other nights where it's like, so find good friends and latch onto them, because that's how people end up, going down bad paths, because they don't know how to handle the highs and lows.
That's right.
They get big-headed because they're riding the highs too high, and then they get super depressed because they're riding the lows too low. So definitely find friends and find a community. That's I think some of the best advice I could give, really.
Well, thank you so much, Joe, for coming here today and for sharing your wonderful story and giving advice to our audience members out there. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you, Phil. That was great.
All right, we are back with Fridays with Phil. How's everyone having a good time so far? Great. I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight to the first show. And next week, we do have another show here in Quaker Hall, and it is entitled Born This Way, celebrating the beautiful and confidence of individuals that we have here on our campus as well as other universities. So please come out to that show. We have a commercial video coming out this week. So all of you that are friends with me on Facebook, you will be receiving a post about that. And you can also find Fridays with Phil on YouTube. Just type in Fridays with Phil and this theme title, This Is It. And also to find out more about our commercial and everything else that we have coming up, you can just type in Fridays with Phil and we'll have multiple videos. So this is what you should do when you go home. Write on the Fridays with Phil page if you are already friends with me, or if you aren't, become friends with Fridays with Phil. And if you write on the wall, we will have a surprise for you in the mail. So go home, write on the wall, like it, and you never know what you're going to get. So we are going to have Mike and Joe come back on, and they're going to tell us a story. So Mike and Joe, come on out. Hi. This is all for you guys.
All right. Are we sitting here? Are you hanging out, or?
Are you gonna hang out, Phil? Phil's
Okay.
gonna go in the crowd. Get up for Phil, guys. Let him hear it.
Yeah. Joe and I are going to tell this quick story about, they asked us to come out here and talk, and we're going to tell you this quick story about one of the times we almost got killed doing a show.
Yeah, the dangers of performing.
Yeah. So we were on our way to, where were we?
Crystal Lake, Illinois.
Crystal Lake, Illinois. Anybody familiar?
Right. Crystal Lake? Awesome.
Yeah, it's very nice. So we go, we get to this show. This is an inspirational story about how awful things can be. But if you stick to your dreams, kids, you could be on this stage eventually. So Joe and I travel out to this show. Joe's actually emceeing the show, which basically means he goes up, he welcomes everybody, and gets the show going, does like 10 minutes worth of jokes. Then another guy goes up, does a half hour, and then I go up and do like 45 minutes or something like that.
Yes.
So Joe's like the MC. We get there, and there's not a lot of people in this place. There's probably about, what?
Like 9. It was December and snowing, and they had like their like Christmas pub crawl that night. I remember, because a couple of people who got left behind were in the crowd because they were wearing their sweaters.
Yeah, so we walk in, and the stage is here. There's about 5 people older in the back. I want to say 60s. 60s. Maybe in their 60s. About 5 people over here. Then maybe 3 people over here, younger, baseball hats backwards, very Fred Durst-like, just hanging out in the corner. College-type students, right?
Yeah, they look like Turtle from Entourage.
Yeah.
I remember.
So
they were nice guys. Yeah.
Joe goes up and welcomes everybody to the show. Very cordial welcoming. Just, hey, everybody, how's it going? How's everybody doing? Thanks for coming out to the show. Kind of a slow start, not a lot of people. Joe starts to do some crowd work and calls out the gentleman in the back who's wearing a Christmas sweater, a very Cosby-like Christmas sweater.
I called, he's wearing his Get Me Laid Cosby sweater.
Yeah.
Because he had his arm around his wife, so he looked like he was definitely like feeling frisky that night.
Yeah, and the sweater had like reindeer.
Which wasn't even mean. It wasn't mean what I said.
No, it was very nice. He was like, "That's a great Get Me Laid Christmas sweater you're wearing, sir."
Yeah.
To which the man didn't appreciate at all. Little did we know, the man had been drinking for like 6 hours or so.
Apparently, like 6 hours or so. Well, here's where it gets really dicey too. Is I didn't think that was that big a deal. I start to move on to another joke. I have a joke about getting drunk at a family Christmas party, and I figured it's Christmas time. Maybe I could slide into that joke, get the audience on my side. As I'm starting the bit, I mentioned, I'm like, yeah, I'm drinking with some of my cousins, and I just said that line, drinking with some of my cousins. They get outraged. They just start screaming out random stuff, and I don't know what it was. Like the guy called me a jack-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, bad language. Don't get me wrong, but he's calling me that. And then do you remember what it was that made them stand up?
I don't know. You said you were Irish, and then he said something else. There was a lot of drunken things being yelled at Joe at this point for no reason at all. The guy in the Christmas sweater was just like fired up and ready to fight Joe for some reason.
No,
and we were
he
just
yelled
like,
out
what?
his last name. He said like, "Oh, don't mess with a McCartney or something." And I go, "Oh, I'm Irish too. Maybe we could be friends and not scream at each other at the beginning of a show." Like, I thought I could relate to him. I'm like, oh, I have Irish background too. You're Irish background. That's cool. He then stands up and says, he goes, BS, you're not Irish. And then I'm like, what? Come on. Like, what are you kidding?
Yeah, the guy's pale white with red hair. How could he be more Irish than that?
These blue eyes pop like M&Ms. I mean, come on. They look nice, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the right lighting. So I'm just like, dude, settle down. I'm trying to calm him down. His wife starts yelling stuff. They come toward the stage.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe this.
Yeah, the guy posts right up in front of the stage, and Joe's standing right here, and the guy's like standing up, just yelling at Joe, just yelling at him, like yelling in Joe's face, and I'm like, this is getting really scary right now. Like, this guy's literally gonna try and fight Joe. Like, things are getting chippy at this point, people.
Well, my whole brain was just like, I have a little bit of a bad temper, so. In my brain, as I'm talking to this guy, I'm like, just kick him in the face.
I don't know. I'm thinking Joe's going to kick this guy in the face.
This guy in the mouth right now, and you're a hero in front of 9 people. But since I was the first comedian, I didn't want to ruin the show. I didn't want to cancel the show. I don't know if we're going to get paid or not. That'll happen. Like, I'm pretty sure the owner would be like, dude, you punted a guy. I can't pay you. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was like, I need this paycheck, Joe. Don't kick a guy in the face, all right?
Yeah. Stanley's like, dude, I need the money. It's Christmas time. I got some gifts. So right then and there, I just try to diffuse the situation. I'm like, just whatever, please walk away. They leave. They come back with a younger guy.
Yeah.
The younger guy then gets in my face.
They recruited.
Starts making fun of the way I'm dressed. They recruited a guy.
Yeah, they recruited a guy.
I'm pretty sure I was wearing the same exact outfit I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
Whatever. And he's yelling at me, and then he says this. He goes, you want to make fun of Irish people? Is that what you did? You came here to make fun of Irish people? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm Irish. I'm not making fun of Irish people. Are you kidding me? I thought it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, I'm Irish, therefore I can say it. You know what I mean? Like, you guys have a friend that...
Yeah, it's like if your girlfriend's ugly, you can make fun of her, but if your friends do, you're like, you're a dick. Don't even talk about it. Yeah.
He says to me, the guy who, like, their friend they recruited says, take that crap to the north side of Chicago and see what happens to you. I'm an Irish guy from the north side of Chicago. I know what will happen. You're from the suburbs. Shut up. At that point, I was, like, done. Then one of their drunk friends...
No, I think you said, I am the north side of Chicago.
I did.
That was Joe's line.
I did.
Like, remember Entourage was like, I am Queens Boulevard. Yeah. That was Joe's I am Queens Boulevard moment.
I did say that. Yeah. This guy probably did one of these, too.
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I started talking about the 97 Bulls.
So he's got 2 guys in front of him ready to fight him, and I'm like, we're going to have to fight our way out of here. We're going to have to fight these people, and it's going to be awful. And I walk up to the stage, and I'm kind of standing in between the 2, like, is it acceptable for me to punch an old man in the face? Like, is that...
Because he was like 67.
Morally, is it okay for me to punch out an old man who's drunk? Like, am I allowed to do that? Like...
There's no answer.
There's no answer to that.
No one knows. That's the dilemma he had.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking about latching on to good friends. This is a good friend because I didn't have to say anything, and I saw him trying to you get in between harm's way. Like, that's another thing. You want to tour with a friend because they'll have your back. But when
I'm also real tough.
Come on, look at that. He's wearing leather, for God's
sake. Real tough.
So here's what I'll finish up the story real quickly because I know we're pressed for time. The drunk guy, the one who was with him, because remember we said there was 5 with him. There was one guy who was passed out, had his head down the whole show. Didn't even see anything.
The whole show, meaning the 5 minutes that we were there.
He never saw me introduce or say what's up. He was sleeping the second I got on stage. He was sleeping. He sees the guy yelling at me, wakes up, and just like it must have been his bat signal or something because he got up like this, like and just
he woke up like my drunk friend's in trouble. We're doing this, and then just like charged at Joe.
He jumped on the stage.
Jumped on the stage, went to like tackle Joe, this drunk old man, and Joe just deflects him, and the guy falls off the stage. There's a speaker set up, falls over the speaker, and glass just shatters. And we're all just like, what? Like,
let me say this. I didn't really deflect him. I kind of olayed him.
He did olay him. He olayed him.
It wasn't like I just shoot away. I had something to do with him flying. So once the glass is on the stage, finally the bar staff comes in. I don't know where the heck they were.
Finally to our rescue. Like the bar staff's like, there's probably soming going on back there that shouldn't be at this point.
2-inch waitresses to break up drunk guys.
Those 2 boys might be in trouble right now.
Yeah. The microphone's on the ground. I had to drop the mic. In my brain, I'm prepared to grab the mic and say, I'm sorry, guys, we tried tonight, but there's not going to be a show. Because how do you do a show after that? So I go to reach down the mic, and I make eye contact with the Fred Durst dudes.
Yeah,
right?
the college kids.
Yeah, Turtle. I pick up the microphone, and I see their eyes, and they look at me, and they go, no, bro. They start clapping. They did like they really got into it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I looked at them, I go, you want us to do a show still? And they're like, yeah. I'm like,
you want us to do a show still? They were like, yeah. They started screaming. So I'm like, you got it. We're going to do a damn show. Screw these people. You know, the security's getting rid of them. They had a big window off to the side. I started doing like the jig just to piss them off.
Yeah.
Doing all like, I'm just agitating them now.
Yeah.
They're standing in the parking lot like there's like security talking to them. And at that point, I kind of flipped them off a little bit. At that point, I kind of asked for
No, the best was the woman, the old woman who was married to the guy in the sweater. She walked by the window and gave us double middle fingers as she was leaving, like, eh. We're like, all right, Nana.
69-year-old women.
All right, Nana.
Double middle fingers. You haven't lived. Okay, you haven't been a performer yet. So that's when you know you make it. When you get double middle fingers, you'll know I've arrived in this industry. All right, so that's the moral of the story.
And we did the show anyway, and it was fantastic.
The show turned out awesome. So
live your dreams.
Don't let some drunk people make fun of you and ruin a show.
You got to persevere.
That's right. Do it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you so much. Joe and Mike, everyone, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Come to the show tonight at the Spec, 8 o'clock. University, sponsored by University Center Board. Before we leave tonight, I would just like to thank all of you once again for coming out. But there is one more announcement I would like to make. Many of you know that Tri Delta Sorority does a big fundraiser for the St. Jude and Cancer. So please go out and support them next week for their Tri Delta Pancake House. $2 for a pancake and breakfast, so it's going to be really great. There are a few individuals that I would like to thank as we prepare to leave in the show tonight. I would like to especially thank my advisor, Melinda Reeder, for supporting me and giving me all the support that it takes. Yes. I would also like to thank UCB for bringing in these wonderful guys, Joe and Mike. I would also like to thank Millikan University, the Marketing Department, UIC, the Office of Student Programming, Dining Services for letting us use this wonderful stage property, yes, the Communications Department and Dr. Brand. My entire PWP team, just stand up, guys, just stand up. Yes, represent. All of my sound crew, that goes from sound, from photography to media, everywhere. And my PMC staff for providing this wonderful space, Quaker Hall. And this morning they actually gave a tribute to Mr. Perkinson, who passed away earlier this summer. And it would not be for him that we would be in this space tonight. But also thanks to you. Thanks to you all for coming out and supporting my dream. And I really hope that tonight has been an outlet and a source of inspiration for you to go out and to do exactly what it is you are destined to do and what you are called to do. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's PWP. Hope to see you next Friday. Yeah.